Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I've got my friend Dean Higa here. Dean, how you doing today?
Doing great, Max. How are you?
Fine. Things are warm in Texas. How are things
Awesome
in
as usual.
beautiful California? Are you guys 70 degrees every day?
A little warmer than that lately, but yeah, it's nice and comfortable. We don't have too much humidity, but we're very dry. We have no water, so it's been pretty bad.
That is a problem. Now you're in the Bay Area, right?
Yes, I am. I'm currently in Southern California right now, but I'll be heading back to the Bay Area. Yep.
Nice. Good. Well, let me ask you, I want to kind of dig into a little bit about what you're doing in real estate because it's very cool. But before I do that, how did you get started in real estate? How long have you been doing this and what kind of got you involved in our space?
Yeah, what like a lot of other people, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it got me thinking. And then I took a course in foreclosures. This is back in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, I just decided I took a course and I didn't have a lot of money, and I just quit my job. And I just said, I'm all in. And I didn't even have a deal yet. So but I was, it forced me to knock on doors kind of relentlessly. And I got some really good deals knocking on doors for people under pre foreclosure. So, of course, now I'm too lazy to do that, but even though it's lucrative, but there aren't as many foreclosures either right now. So.
Absolutely. So what are some specific things that you do in real estate to make, money today and money tomorrow? What are your exit strategies, specifically?
Yeah, I've actually been, I used to do a lot of rehabbing, but I'm actually doing more wholesaling because I've seen a lot of investors come into the market uh, since, I started, and they're very hungry and they pay a lot for deals. And for me, a lot of times it's not worth the risk and the time to do the rehab. So more and more I'm moving toward, I still do some rehabs, but I'm moving more towards just wholesaling properties. And I've tried all kinds of different things, mail, texting, cold calling, SEO, PPC, all that stuff. But the best thing that's worked for me lately is just networking with a lot of real estate agents in particular. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now tell us a little bit about what's going on in your housing market. So kind of what is the market and like what are some of the trends that you're seeing on the ground?
Yeah, like everywhere else, probably, market's really hot. There's not much inventory. Sellers want top dollar. So it's tough and it's very competitive. At the same time, we're all a little cautious because we know that some kind of correction's coming. We just don't know when, right?
Mhm.
And construction costs are going through the roof. So that makes it, adds another more difficult element to it. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It's just very competitive. The margins are getting slim.
Mhm.
I talked to homeowners and they said they just get tons of mail,
Mhm.
which is what I like about your program. Is we kind of go from the inside out rather than uh, trying to hammer them and do what everybody else is doing. And I noticed that mailers, they all kind of have the same message. At least 90% of them do. Buy your house cash as is. You know the spiel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's just say that a homeowner in the Bay Area is listening to this. What
Mhm.
is kind of like the ideal person that you're set up to help and work, the best with? Like who's like the ideal person that could reach out to you to get help and just try to navigate what's going on with their home?
Right. The ideal person would be someone that wants to sell without a lot of hassle, but at the same time, when you talk to people, some of them you could sense they don't have any sense of urgency.
Mhm.
They don't have any underlying issues. And so usually they're going to kind of come to the conclusion themselves anyway, but I kind of ask them, why don't you use a realtor? And then I'll try to refer one of my realtors to them because I know all the best realtors in each area. So
Oh, good.
it's kind of my approach.
That makes sense. So what are some of the challenges that sellers are facing in your market? It can't be all just, sunshine and rainbows. Like what are some of the main problems or challenges that when homeowners are calling you, they're facing?
They don't have maybe the money to fix it up and maximize what they can get out of it. Tenants are a very challenging one. Unwanted tenants. Sometimes it's unwanted relatives. Yeah, I think those are the main ones. Tenant one is a big one though, as we were just discussing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know, but San Francisco and Oakland, extremely friendly, tenant friendly. It's I have a friend that had to pay a tenant over 150 grand to get out, right? So,
really?
Crazy. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're thinking about buying investment properties in those areas to rent them out, do your homework is what we're saying. We're not saying yes or no, but do your homework. And I bet there's probably, like you said, a growing group of, landlords who maybe, aren't doing this full time. They've got a few properties. They bought them a long time ago when it was cheaper. And now this whole situation's made it really tough to collect rent. Have you seen that, or have you had conversations with people who are kind of in that scenario?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep, I've seen it where the tenants actually become hostile and even just take over. Even squatters have rights now. It's hard to get them out too. And in certain areas, the police won't really help you much either. So there's some real challenges for landlords, particularly in certain neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you've been doing this a while, and you've obviously, like you said, tried a lot of different, marketing approaches. What have you seen, like in the marketing and just kind of the evolution of what's, worked and what is, hasn't worked, just over the last, 4 or 5 years? Like what has kind of the trend been?
I think that it's just much more competitive. There's more people chasing after the same homeowners. Also, when I first started, we could buy deals off the MLS. Now, you still can, but it's few and far between. And I just noticed that this is just my opinion that a lot of investors are just overpaying. But I don't know, I don't know what their cost model is either. But that creates opportunity for me to sell properties I get to them because
Sure.
they're overpaying.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I've seen the same thing in my market in Dallas, and that is kind of a nationwide trend. Well, before I forget, I want to give you a big congrats on becoming a published author. That's obviously something that not a lot of people do. So like, what made you decide to do that, and how do you plan to like use the book to build your business basically?
Yeah, well, you're giving us some great training. By the way, I'm not saying this just to kiss your behind, but you're one of the best mentors I've had, and I've had a lot. And I'm still a member of Fortune Builders Mastery and Fortune Builders Inner Circle, which is a great organization. I love it. I've been a Home Investors franchisee. I've also in numerous other programs, but you're like the best kept secret.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, cool. Thank you, man. I'll send you $3.
Yeah, I saw you on Mike Hambright did a series when COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw you speak there. And you were talking about your book, and I was thinking, man, that's great. Man, I wonder if he'll help me write a book. And then I found out that you actually do have a program for other investors. I thought, oh, cool, I'm in. So yeah, I have not implemented. That's like one of my biggest issues is implementation. I have not implemented as much as I should have. As I think I told you earlier, I do have an engagement, speaking engagement in October. It was booked way out. And I'm working with a couple of homeowners that are, in that situation where they're thinking about downsizing their parent and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, what happened with? I know you were working with. I remember I saw something on our Facebook group where you were talking. A lady. I think you had driven by their house and then somehow got in touch with the relatives and somehow got your book in their hands. How did that all go down? And
it's still going. It's still going. She just told me, that things are just taking longer. There's a few siblings involved. I know it gets more complicated the more players you have in it. But, she always responds when I reach out to her, and she's always grateful. So I really believe I'm going to be the first person she calls when they decide to move forward. I'm totally convinced without being too overconfident. But
yeah. What was her kind of reaction, the homeowners, reaction, the family, when they found out that you were a published author and then you got the book in their hands and they had a chance to go through it? What kind of feedback did they share with you?
Yeah. They really like it. For me, when I read it, I think it's kind of basic, but that's because I'm in the business. But when other people read it, they think, oh, wow, this is great information. And they also, I think you saw the comment about, they appreciate the fact that we give them options. We don't try to steer them into our own, our own program, what we want them to do.
Yeah. It seems to work out better that way. It's sort of like they're going to know the other options anyway. So you might as well just let them know about it and just let them decide. People don't like it when you tell them what to do. I mean, I don't, nobody does. So
get vaccinated, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's throw some more controversy on here. Yeah. It's just, people don't like that. So I think it's really cool that, you're out there spreading the book around and giving people this information because, unless they have a lot of assets, there's not really, especially if they're seniors or the family of seniors, there's not really, unless I'm missing something, like a real organized effort to educate these folks. They go online, they just get more confused than ever. So I've kind of had the same experience too. And it's like, I had a lady who I gave my book to Tuesday. We went over to the house. Landlord, inherited the property kind of thing. And she said the same thing that your seller said, which was like, she said, she's like, I'm pretty skeptical of like everybody. And I mean, you should be. When you're getting all this mail and all this stuff as a homeowner, you got to be going like, what's going on here, But she's like, I went and looked you up. I saw the book. I saw how other people can, get this information out too. And she was like, she thought that was so cool. So I think it's in this market, it's good to be different for our interest and for the homeowners. And when they align, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So, I mean, you already kind of, gave some feedback for our program. So I appreciate that, obviously. If somebody wants to reach out to you, as we're kind of wrapping this up, what's the best way that they can contact you, whether they have a house that they want to sell as a homeowner, or maybe they just, came across a property and want to look at wholesaling it or something like that. But somebody needs to, sell a house or just get some advice, or maybe just get a copy of your newest book. What is the best way that folks can reach out and do that?
Well, if they're interested in the book, I have a website, seniorhousinghelp.com, but senior is just srhousinghelp.com. And otherwise, they can reach me by phone, 650-242-4001, or by email, dean@bphomesolutions.com. That's B as in Bob, P as in Paul, home solutions, plural.com.
Okay. Very cool. Well, we'll put the links down below so you can click on those and you can reach out to Dean whether you're just want to get a copy of one of his books so you can learn about your options before you make a decision. And if you have a property or more immediate need, you can reach out to him, via the email or the phone number. But definitely call him. I've gotten to know Dean for the last year, and tons of integrity. Always shows up to the calls, trying to figure out how he can serve more people in his area, which is super cool. And it's just going to keep paying dividends for everybody that's involved. And like I said, that's the best kind of best business to have, is when everybody wins. So thank you for what you're doing, because like I said, we just couldn't figure out a distribution model to get this really powerful stuff in the hands of a million senior homeowners and their families. But because of folks like you who are leading the effort in your area, these people, that family you mentioned, they can get this stuff, do something with it, and just have a good life. I mean, that's what we're trying to help people do, and run our businesses at the same time. So
yeah.
awesome job.
By the way, Max, I co-host a monthly meetup, which I've been doing with another investor for the last 11 years or so. And
very cool.
You're welcome to speak if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. We'll coordinate that. That sounds great. Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. Well, that's all the time that we have. So I hope that everybody watching got some great value. Dean, I want to have you back on. Are you going to be available in the future and kind of give an update on how some of your deals are coming along?
Yeah, absolutely, Max. Yep. You're somebody that I'm paying attention to every week. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Yeah, whatever I can do to help you get more deals, and find people to help so we can grow our businesses. That's what I want to do, and it's fun, doing that with you and everybody on our group. It's grown. We added 2 more book systems this year, and it's kind of crazy. And I think we have about 130 or 40 people at the time of this airing. And so life is good, and we'll just but we'll have you back, get an update. And thanks everybody. If you got some good value from this, just put it in the comments, give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody, and we'll see you next time. Bye everybody.
Hey, thanks a lot, Max.
All right. Take care, Dean.
You too.